Hello, my name is Mark Galvan, and it's my privilege to be able to give you additional information about this specific opportunity with Argus IT Services for the Warehouse and Order Fulfillment Supervisor. Now, what this is an audio overview of information about the full-time opportunity with the company that you're not going to necessarily find on the internet or in a job posting. Again, this is only for candidates that have already been through a screening process and have been identified as pre-qualified for the Warehouse and Order Fulfillment Supervisor role. Now, I'm just going to call it the Warehouse Supervisor role from here forward. Okay, why are we doing this? First, this is very time sensitive. This is a new position, and we're trying to get somebody in the role as the company continues to grow and need attention on supervision and management in a middle leadership level. And we have one opportunity now. It is a leadership role, so it's a supervisory position. And congratulations, like I said, because you're already in probably the middle of this process. So let me explain. You saw an email from us, or you possibly saw a job posting and you responded. There was some pre-screening questions. Those were used to identify who were minimally qualified, and we can also see who's very well qualified from that. There's a review that occurs, and then there's an email with next steps sent to you as somebody that is of great interest to us because of your background, skills, and experience. And now we are looking to provide you more information about the role after we've seen the information you've given us. And the next steps from here would be a questionnaire and then identifying opportunities for one-on-one interviewing. So I promise I'm going to make this information as valuable and as helpful to you as possible so that you can make a good decision about the business, the opportunity, the work, and you're going to get a lot more information here as well. Hopefully, you'll get some career coaching and some insights based on our recruiting perspective also. So again, you are kind of in the middle of this process, and we kind of know what we're doing here. We are part of the recruiting team. I'm a recruiting manager, and it's our job to connect the best possible people with the best possible opportunities. So we've got a dual responsibility to look out for you and to look out for the business. And so our ultimate goal is to create a win-win type of scenario where you're the ideal person for the company, and the company is really an ideal opportunity for you. So let's get into this, because at this point, we want to make sure that you have enough information to make a good decision. So first of all, does this sound like you? You are maybe between jobs, maybe you're in transition and you're looking for an opportunity that might be good, or you might just be looking for a company that's going to pay more. Okay, that's fine also. But if you're looking for an organization where you can grow, there's long-term stability. We haven't had any cutbacks in this period of the pandemic or anything. We've just had continued growth. And if you're looking for an opportunity to develop your skills and have advancement within the organization, well, then this might be an opportunity for you, and you should really listen up. Again, my role is to create this win-win relationship between us. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to give you details on next steps. Now, there's no AI involved here. There's no automated anything. These are all real people behind the scenes here. What we have done here is we've created what we call an accelerated virtual recruiting model, where we're able to give you an audio video in addition to some downloadable material so that you can take advantage of listening and reading this information at your leisure whenever you want. And then that gives you enough information to know how to respond to us and what information we're looking for from you. Now, typically what happens is you get a phone call from a recruiter and you're kind of on the spot. You have either an impromptu conversation or it's a scheduled pre-screening call, and you're getting questioned. It's like an interrogation, more or less. And the company's not providing you any detail. I mean, they're just there to screen you, and if you make it through the screening process, then you go to the next step. We don't do things that way. We want to be very transparent up front about the good, the bad, the ugly, and allow you to make the right decision for you. Because if it's that we're both being honest with each other, it's going to be a better relationship. Kind of like a marriage. If you're dating each other and you're just lying to each other the whole time, and the truth comes out later, that's going to be a problem. Well, so it is in business as well. So we're going to give you the same information that we would normally give in an interview, but we're giving it to you in an audio video format. And so that gives you the opportunity to listen to it and digest it and think on it. And then if this seems like something you're excited about, then we're going to give you the opportunity to fill out a questionnaire, and that gives us more information about you. It's kind of the same information we would get in an initial interview, but when you provide that to us, we can then now digest that. You also have the opportunity to take your time in formulating thoughtful responses, which make you look better. So it's better for you in addition to that. So our timeline is pretty aggressive. We're going to start interviewing candidates the moment we've got the right people in the process, and we're hoping that you're one of them. Okay, so that's where this is at. And again, we're able to put this out to you, and you can digest this and get back to us at your convenience, which is a lot faster than trying to schedule, conversations and interviews. So let me tell you a little bit more about the company and the work. Argus IT Services has been around for quite some time. Since 1997. There's tenure in the market for sure, with a real strong track record of success. I think we've been working with the company to provide recruiting services as a third-party independent organization. We're Proforce, but we're embedded in the operation to help take care of all the recruiting needs at Argus. We've been associated with Argus for about 4 years, and I can tell you, I know the executive leadership personally, and they're great people. They're just good people. So it's a pleasure to be able to represent the organization, but it also shows up in their core values. One is service. Delivering exceptional service to customers. Second is passion. Passion being a fuel that shapes culture and mindset, it energizes the people and the business to do what we do. The next one is integrity. Honesty and integrity, it builds trust, and it creates great relationships between clients and employees and the business. It's the cornerstone of everything. And then the next one is commitment. And that's because we're committed to service and quality and a value that we provide to our clients. And then the last core value is excellence. And that is something that is an attitude, and it permeates everything that's done, processes, procedure, everything that happens within the organization. There's a commitment to strive for that. So, those are the kinds of things you see in much larger, more mature organizations, but Argus IT Services has all of the characteristics of a very large, mature organization. And that probably has to do with the professional backgrounds of the executive leadership team. So let me explain to you kind of how the business is structured. We'll consider these their primary lines of service. The first one is client-side operations, where we've got IT teams that are out on client sites performing projects. Those could be server projects. They could be rooms and server rooms, or movements, shifting locations. They could be peripherals management, anything that involves network. Then we have another line of service, and that's outsourcing. So the managed service provider outsourcing organization internally handles all the IT needs of the client organizations. So that's a whole separate body of teams and people and leaders that is involved in the MSP function. And then the third line of service is warehouse operations. This is primarily focused on hardware, configuring hardware, and repurposing hardware, end-of-life processing, and refresh projects. Very, very large. I mean, it could be 2,000 to 10,000 laptops at a time in large warehouse operations. So when we talk about shipping and receiving and warehouse ops, we're talking about an environment that requires certain staging, processing, prep work, quality assurance before anything even goes out the door. And then, of course, we have corporate operations that's responsible for providing all the back office support. But those are the primary operations. And what this position is focused on is that warehouse operation structure, where we've got teams of people that are handling sometimes very, very large volumes of hardware. And because some of it needs to be configured before it goes out, there's service components as well. So a little bit more about the company. One of the things that I think is important that candidates should consider whenever they're looking at a company for a job is, what are the differentiators? What makes this company unique in the marketplace? I mean, you want to be proud of the company you work for. And, some of these things might be exciting to one person, but not another. But I'm just going to, again, be transparent and let you know what we see as the unique differentiators that Argus brings to the marketplace. One, I mentioned it already, as a track record of success. Being around since 1997 is a good thing, especially in an industry where IT companies come and go all the time. And the real proof is in the results. I mean, you can look at the argusx.com website and see many examples of client case studies, examples of client retention, and we're getting new global clients all the time. These would be large organizations that have global brand recognition. So, and those look good on a resume, but more on that in a minute. And then another thing is just the culture internally. So one of the things we see is kind of a servant-based leadership type of culture. I think part of that is because I can't say it's a faith-based organization, but it's a faith-based organization. It's just for profit, because the leaders have a very strong commitment to their faith, and that permeates the way they make decisions, their core values, commitment to clients, culture, company, community, huge give back opportunities as well within the organization and to the community. So you can read more about the company's mission and vision on the web and in some of the materials that are downloadable also for you in the email with this link. Now, the mission of this specific job is ultimately to provide hands-on leadership and direct supervision to all the warehouse and IT tech team members. Now, they are providing all services out of the corporate main facility in Grand Prairie. So that's where the corporate operations are with the warehouse operations, and all the work is done there for receiving new and retired equipment, inventory management, reporting, preparation and fulfillment of orders. Things sometimes come in bulk, sometimes they're individual, and all of it almost always includes some component of servicing as well. So when we say a complex receiving and shipping environment, that's kind of what we're talking about. Now, if I could describe a day in the life of the job, there would definitely be, what you would expect: inventory management types of functions and responsibilities, supervising warehouse employees, overseeing daily operations, making sure that certain things that are time sensitive are being processed on time, staging is being done appropriately, inspecting and monitoring equipment and other resources, and obviously a quality assurance layer over the team. If you've got any background in process improvement, huge opportunities to exercise those muscles here as well, to be able to bring in opportunities to improve process and procedure, eliminate waste, and so on. So obviously we need somebody with a high degree of focus and detail oriented, but also committed to customer service. So you've got three customers essentially. You've got leadership, who you ultimately report to, and they are your internal customer. Then you've got the team you serve. So that's where that servant leadership attitude is so important, because if you have a team that's reporting to you, we don't want a thumbs on them, top down command and control type of leadership model. We want something that fits with the culture at Argus, and that is a supportive servant leadership style of management to be able to support your team members. And then we've got the external customer. So you ultimately have those three customers to think about. And then also, with that, we would expect somebody's got great communication skills. They know how to manage customer communication. They've got the professionalism to be able to sit and speak to a customer and so on. So, some of the things we're looking for are the background in shipping and receiving. And now, if you don't have specific IT warehouse experience, that's all right, because the concepts around shipping, receiving, and inventory management, inventory control, just in time, you know what I'm talking about. That's all applicable, whether you've been managing in one industry or another. Those are all convertible skills and a transferable knowledge that we would expect you to be able to deploy here without maybe understanding all the nuances of the IT equipment. So the teams are going to have that knowledge, but somebody needs to be able to supervise and ensure operational excellence. That's you. Okay. Experience preparing and fulfilling orders, anything regarding prioritization of service requests, knowing how to handle escalations without blowing up, the entire schedule. That probably brings back, crazy memories if you've been there before. And then also having a hands-on leadership role. So you can go into a little bit more detail in the downloadable position profile. You're going to see from that document, it's a PDF. The link is included with this link to this audio video. That's not just a normal job description. That's our way of showcasing to you, everything we can about the company and the opportunity, the total rewards and other things. So take a look at that. But let me speak to total rewards real quick here, because that includes salary. Salary is not the only component of total rewards, obviously. Right now, we have market analysis that shows this position should be valued somewhere around 55K up to around 65K a year. And that is a salaried role. So if you're way out of that ballpark already, this might not be a good fit for you. Again, just being real transparent up front with you. But ultimately, I think the most valuable thing here is not just that salary. Of course, we've got full benefits package, health, dental, vision, and a lot more. But I think the most valuable thing here is the long-term opportunity to build your future earning capacity. Okay, so what that means is, let's say you're making 62.5 right now, you're in a supervisory role, you make a lateral decision, you come over here and you step in this role. Okay, this is a supervisory role. There's upward mobility. You could be a manager at some point in time. You could be a director at some point in time. So there's internal opportunity for growth. But also, whether you stay with Argus or move on someplace else, you have the opportunity to build skills and abilities and have experience that's going to make you 20-30% more valuable down the road, for sure. Let me explain how that happens. First of all, when you go to work for a company, any organization, you have one logo on your resume. Okay, I'm not going to name names, but if you go to work for a regional company, they may be fairly recognized where you live, but not if you move out of state, and they may not be a global brand. When you go to work for a consulting company, it's a whole different ball of wax. In consulting services, you're serving multiple customers and you have multiple logos that you're able to suddenly represent. And when that happens, you can then show that you have had a supportive role to support very large customers that are very well recognized and respected. That alone makes you more valuable. And then the other thing is, when you're working for one company, you learn, their tech stack. That's all you got. Their ins and outs, their processes and procedures. But when you're supporting multiple companies, multiple clients, then you're all of a sudden getting exposed to multiple business models, tech stacks, different environments, and that alone makes you more valuable as well. I tell people all the time that if you have the opportunity to go into a consulting environment, do it. Even if it's uncomfortable, a stretch, even if you have to take a pay cut, because you're going to get 10 years of experience in like 3 years, because you're dealing with different client scenarios and challenges. And it's challenging for sure, but it's not for the faint of heart. But the people that master that, they become really ridiculously valuable. So I would just suggest to you that the intangibles are like the absolutely more valuable thing here. Even if money is your goal, it's better to take a step back or take a lateral role, get the experience and the logos on the resume, and put your career into orbit. Okay, and that's really my perspective as a recruiter. And I didn't mean to go into all that level of detail, but I've been in the recruiting and talent acquisition space for decades, and so we have some perspective on money and career and jobs and long-term asset and growth building. So that's something you should consider. So the last thing I'm going to say is that there are some desired expectations, prerequisites. We'd love to have somebody that has like a bachelor's degree in a complementary skill set or knowledge domain for this role. But if not, that's okay. A degree can be substituted by experience and technical knowledge. We'd like to see at least 5 years of experience in a similar role. If you're like the perfect person and you have 4.5 years of experience, we're going to consider you. You're not going to get knocked out. We want to see strong communication skills, and in every interaction with us, you have the opportunity to demonstrate that. So be mindful of that, and then also. We want to be able to see that somebody has a creative attitude that, will do whatever it takes and has a healthy, positive attitude about things, because a lot of what we do is problem solving. So we need to bring that to the table every single day. Okay, so that's my whirlwind tour of details that you're not going to find or read anywhere else. A little bit of that is in the job description, the downloadable position profile, but then there's other stuff on there, obviously, that's unique. So at this point, you're either gone and not listening anymore, or you're still listening and you're thinking, yeah, I don't think this is what I'm looking for. Well, that's great. Now we know, and you don't need to waste any more of your time. And we really want to thank you for your consideration. But if you're listening to this and you're thinking, wow, this actually sounds really interesting, I've never been exposed to something quite like this, and the company sounds great, I want to know more. Okay, ball's in your court now. We're going to kick you a link. It's in the email that you already got as a potential next step, and that's a link to a questionnaire. Take your time, give us your answers. You can edit your answers after you submit. We read every single answer, and honestly, I'll tell you, it's probably even more important than your resume. Okay, so your resume got us to this point, but that questionnaire is asking you very specific questions, very detailed questions about things that we really, really want to know about you. So don't be shy. Don't be afraid to self-promote. That's what this is all about right now. And take your time to do that, because we're going to use that to determine next steps. Now, if for some reason you're not selected as the top candidate out of the 2 or 3 or 10 or whatever number there is here now, we still appreciate you. And our commitment to serving you is that when we let you know that we've moved on with somebody else, if that happens, we'll give you access to some career resources, some things that will help you with your job search and your career transition. We'll give you some links to some stuff that will help you with your resume, stuff you're not going to get anywhere else on the internet without paying for it, and also some tips on how to interview well. And that's our way of saying you're a VIP, not here, but somewhere else. And when you land in the right place, you'll be on the right bus. And we appreciate that about everybody. So thank you for taking the time to listen to this. Again, you have only received this because you've already gone through the process of pre-screening, pre-qualification, and review. So we're interested in you, and now we're hoping to hear back from you. Okay, ball's in your court. Thank you so much, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the process.